if Lazy Esports can surprise us. And interestingly enough, you talk about Blacklist having this skirmishy hit and run comp and Lazy Esports having a lot of displacement. It seems to me, on paper at least, that it is a decent solution to deal with Blacklist, right? They want to come in and get the drive-by, but you have so many ways to just lift them out of position and isolate them from the rest of the team.
And the difficult part though is that, like we mentioned, right, JM going to have a much better lineup against Dur in the EXP lane, so that already reduces a bit of the map pressure that Lazy would like to have in the early game. And in comparison, a lot of the burst damage on Lazy is put on Shizo and James Punk specifically. So if MP is able to just dive into the back line and separate them alongside JM, hold on.
Grab Perceiver back, and that would be Burst Blood going over to Lazy. The Jawhead picks up the kill, and JM wants to go for the Jawhead, doesn't find him. Puckbed gets out, Flickers traded on both sides.
Unfortunate for Blacklist, weren't able to get more than that, but First Blood is still going to be very, very good. And even forcing out the Revitalize, Perciva wasn't able to survive that. So already a pretty good start and good response here from Lazy to make sure that they didn't give away more kills. The early game is a very important timing for them with this mid-roam and jungle combination. Oh,
well, Turtle taken by Lazy. That's a lift back. Chovskirts tries to go for multiple targets, but the flicker committed by Dirt. That's another kill for Lazy. So they have 3 so far, but at least Haji was able to secure one on the way out. Still gonna get lifted back.
Oh,
yeah,
the couple of
displacement. Out of this world, steals the juice in now, still gets lifted back, but Chove doesn't have the mana, so Haji escapes.
And that is why the man is still known as the KDA machine, turning around that situation. Definitely a bit too deep of a dive there. I think Lazy didn't consider the possibility of the Zeus'in ult being stolen to give just that extra bit of durability at the end, because otherwise that should have been a kill. Now this Valentina is 2-0, but now Perkiva
gonna use the AOG just to escape, so big engage 2 eliminated, but thankfully for Blacklist, no objectives, no point of interest on the map just yet. So he's gonna have it back up for Necturdo. They're not so lucky though, tries to use the Vengeance to gain some distance, refreshes the Demon Mark, but MP the King on the K. James Punks re-engages, gets the stun off. MP the King gets out, but Outplay will not.
Outplayed, gonna be ganked on the opposite side of the map. That is good communication there from Lazy, right? They see that the enemy jungle is on the top half of the map. They instantly rotate over to punish the less manned gold lane and give Shizo a little bit of that lead. This is a Harif versus a Granger, so Shizo will have the natural early to mid-game advantage, and the more they snowball, the slower they can delay the stacking of Outplayed on this Granger. Lazy, I still think, is the easier composition to play, especially early to mid-game. So this is the timing that they have to capitalize on the most.
Yeah. We also are noticing some of the advantages Lazy Esports has. Because how is Blacklist going to open up the map without the Gatar, right? And you're running into a Jawhead Juicin who could just, again, displace you like they do now. Revitalize can get used, Final Slash on the 2 jungle. Turtle stolen by MP the King. Shido joins the fight. He's in the middle of all of it. Chrono dashes out of the way. MP the King is just dancing around the battlefield. Dur will not survive, unfortunately. Will just have to give his life up. Double kill for Outplay. Shizo now trapped underneath his own turret. JM Pigman not able to get out. Chove on his tail, lifts him back. Not in turret range, but still beams him down. Either way, Blacklist wins the fight, gets the objective, and now Haji once more. Death Sonata into a snipe mega kill for Outplay.
A massive victory here for Blacklist International. They basically did wipe the entirety of Lazy Esports there. And Lazy unfortunately made the mistake of getting a little bit overconfident in their engagement. They wanted to take out Perziva before the turtle fight could begin, but this is a Gaton. It's still going to take a lot of resources to take him out. And because they used all of their cooldowns, it's instantly go time for Blacklist. They normally would not be that good in a straight up 5v5 situation, but when Lazy is not positioned for it and have already used a bunch of their important abilities, it becomes very easy for them to run them down. MP, even being able to steal a turtle on top of it, instantly reverses momentum in favor of Blacklist International.
A lot of single target controls from Lazy, but like you said, very cooldown dependent. We saw MP just dancing around the backline of Lazy Esports. But all things considered, we're looking at a 2k gold lead for Blacklist International. No turrets have been felled just yet. 6 minutes into the game. Pretty slow considering that all the fight that has happened so far, right? 12 total kills across both teams.
Yeah, the ideal for Lazy in engagements is to slow it down and catch Blacklist when they're separate, because their composition is very good at doing that. If they're not able to do that and just try and run them down instead, we already see what Blacklist is capable of. This is a team that actually does have a pretty glaring weakness, and that Gatot is the only form of engage. I already highlighted it during the draft. So if they can force Perxiva to use up his resources beforehand, Blacklist instantly has to position very defensively. So slower, more controlled engagements are preferred here for Lazy. Notice for now, they're controlling the turtle pit.
Perxiva tries to use the AOG, gets control, he goes down, flick a final slash, good engage from Dur, and this time Lazy Esports does the prep work just right, finding 3 kills, and an eventual turtle at the cost of just their roamer.
That's exactly what I was talking about, right? You take out Perxiva first, then slowly displace the rest of Blacklist, because after that they just don't have a front line, right? Especially since JM went for Flicker instead of Vengeance on this CC. Perxiva is the only real tank that Blacklist can depend on. I think Lazy positioned themselves really nicely there. We're able to get the turtle, now even up the network lead. And if they can continue building this up, it will be great, because Blacklist is quite heavily depending on the third to fourth item spike on MP and Outplayed before they can really make an impact in team fights.
That's the... Wow, for a while I thought it was the AOG for Perxiva. He was just buffering the taunt. So far we've been seeing Blacklist react to Lazy, because Lazy is the one trying to displace targets, you know, going for these pickoffs. Like how they did with Perxiva again, they're just no going out. They're going to send him straight back to the fountain. But is there a way for Blacklist to take initiative, right? Get an engage off, or is it going to be a constant tug of war where they have to wait for cooldowns from Lazy?
Well, speaking of, Lazy gonna find Outplayed again, tries to throw him, uses the flicker, so the Granger is out. But to answer your question, Husky, Blacklist literally cannot start a fight. They just do not have the lineup to do it, because again, Avatar of the Guardian is not a reliable fight starter. The only way they can be the ones in control is if Lazy makes a mistake and overcommits, like we saw in that one fight earlier in the game. Otherwise, with Azusin and Jahid, Lazy will always have vision control and zoning potential. Blacklist are the ones that have to slow it down, wait for resources to be committed so that MP can go in later while whittling them down from behind with the Granger. Otherwise, Lazy controls most of the fights until scaling really kicks in.
You can see Lord spawns right now, and MP just got his Holy Crystal. Then the pullback of the Perxiva. Pugback can't get it right now, so could be an opportunity to re-engage with the AOG. Crimson Beacon used, but MP just dances on top of Chove. Chove will disengage, but this fight is already done. JM Pigman on top of Dur. Dur goes down. Double kill for MP, and Blacklist now has the Lord open for business.
If they're able to catch Lazy off guard themselves, then that's actually pretty good, but Lazy still looking to try and contest here.
Shield damage out of this world. Still though, Blacklist International secures the Lord. It's just going to be finally a tool for them to accelerate the game a little bit. But I mean, all these considered, right? Like Perxiva, he's been having a pretty rough time. But Blacklist International, they're starting to hit those power spikes, especially MP with that Holy Crystal damage. He is just ripping through Lazy Esports health bars.
Yeah, like I mentioned, once we see the third, fourth item timing come in for MP and Outplayed, Blacklist's mid to late game damage is actually terrifying, right? They're able to whittle down Lazy from afar, and a lot of these heroes on Lazy's side are going to start dropping off in like general utility, right? Jahid especially is going to feel the heat of not being able to survive damage quite a bit. So Perxiva, even though he's been having a rough time, right, that is kind of expected as the solo Gatot. You know you are going to die a lot against a Jahid Zusin. If you're able to throw away, to force out all of their resources, it is actually very worth it at this point, because Blacklist, they don't really even... Oh!
Whoa! That's a straight up assassination.
Well, well, that's unfortunate right there. A little bit of underestimation, because I didn't manage to bring this up earlier because I just didn't have the time to do it. But James Punks has a Sky Piercer, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Not your classic item choice on Suyo. He actually bought it when his score was 0-2. So I wondered, like, is this a good idea? But in situations like that, well, you can see the effect.
Yeah. And we just blow them up before they could do much, right? I suppose it also makes sense that the whole idea is to displace your enemy, you know, like how in Trex's word, give him the stiff arm treatment and take them down when they're isolated. Proxiva does engage with AOG, but look at him dropping like flies. 4-man final slash from Durst, setting it up for the rest of Lazy. Haji will not get out, and KDA is ruined. MP getting out of the fight, but Blacklist just lost 3, and a second Sky Piercer for Lazy, this time on Chovesker.
I will continue saying it. Got taught as your primary, and in this case, only initiator, is just not good enough. You started the fight with Avatar the Guardian. What are you going to do next, right? And it was even in a funnel. Blacklist's positioning was just not good enough, and then they all got caught in the final slash. It was an absolute disaster. And now Lazy Esports is fully in control. They gotta slow it down more. Blacklist cannot be the ones jumping the gun, because the only way they win fights is by forcing Lazy Esports to be the ones to do it instead.
Is it finally time for Haji to start considering that I need to help out my Gatot by somehow getting the final slash, if he even has vision of Dur? Because I don't think the Arlott has exposed himself to this Valentina the entire game, at least not enough for Haji to steal that final slash away.
Yeah, I think Dur has been doing a very good job of keeping his positioning apart, because he knows that without that final slash, Blacklist just don't have any alternative way of engaging, right? But now the Lord being contested once again.
Proxiva once more just got controlled to oblivion. Pugman barely escaping with the life. The eject button did give him the shield. The big arrow from James Punks as well. There's 3 members of Blacklist. It's getting chunked out in the bush. So back to square one. Lazy Esports, they can do this all day. Final slash did get stolen by Haji though. Dur was just on the edge of the bush, so he's not gonna get hit. JM Pigman though will go down as Shizo gets a mega kill streak, and this is certified Lord for Lazy Esports.
You know, I think this is like a very appropriate situation, because Shizo is using the new Killua Hunter x Hunter skin. And anyone who watches the show knows that Killua's electric mode is called Godspeed, and Shizo is called Shizo God. So I couldn't have lined it up better myself, Husky. It's just like fate coming into play here.
I went for a 10 draw and I got the skin, so yeah, it makes me happy to see Killua getting featured in the first game. Getting off to a good New Year start for sure.
Having a great time here. Harif is a hero that got recently buffed, like we mentioned during the draft. Able to do damage more consistently, has more access to dashing. In exchange, the dash distance was reduced slightly, but it really doesn't matter. Oh!
Well, again, Proxiva is out, and a big control in the backline. AOG was used to escape, but Shizo needs to go down, and he will. MP the King gives in the 10,000 volt treatment. Similar electric cat, that's a double kill for MP the King. And Blacklist International stays alive.
That was a bit of a mistake. I actually quite like the aggressive play to catch up Proxiva, but I really don't know why Shizo went that deep in. He got caught in the curtain call, and then it was actually just curtains for him, because Harif needs that freedom of movement. Blacklist now fully capitalizing.
A double Sky Piercer going to work, but it's actually just enough to take down 2 members on the side of Blacklist. Lazy Esports does get wiped out, but Puckbet will be back up. And unfortunately, Blacklist, they just do not have the resources to take any inhibitors, and they even lost one of their own. The top inhibitor just went down, bottom one has a big wave pushing in, the mid one is also in shambles. So all Lazy Esports needs to do is just give it a bit of a love tap, and all those structures will start crumbling.
I gotta give props to Lazy though. That play takes some guts. It is really risky to throw your 2 remaining living players at 4 members of the enemy team when the rest of your squad is like still quite some time away from respawning, and the crystal could be exposed, right? The fact they were actually able to trade for 2 members meant that Blacklist couldn't push any further. It could have been cleaner, definitely, but they were able to just achieve the minimum of what they needed to get to make sure that the game didn't end right there on the spot. So it is actually surprisingly close, right? The MDL champions showing us why a lot of people have been seeing them as a bit of a dark horse. And Blacklist International now having to be much more careful. It is clear that Lazy still makes mistakes, right? Shizo, if he didn't get caught out in that previous team fight, could have completely changed how it went. So it is anyone's game at this point. You just have to see who is able to operate a bit more cleanly.
I think Perziva also tried to find a solution to stay alive longer. I believe he got a Winter Crown for this next fight. I know someone got a Winter Crown Blacklist, so Perziva is the one that makes the most sense. He's gonna start the aggro on the Lord, but if you're lazy, you're really not in a rush to take this objective, right? Let Blacklist do the work and just, you know, continue to stiff arm them, continue to poke them from afar, let that top wave build up, and eventually Blacklist will have to deal with it.
Yeah. Right now, though, 16 minutes in, Lazy Esports genuinely has to be very wary of MP and outplayed positions, right? These two heroes do a lot of damage.
Haji Cash, stolen final slash, a 1-for-1. Sky Piercer takes down Perziva. The front line just disappeared. Crimson Beacon from Chosker trying to grab MP back. MP now goes down, completely blown up, and Pinkman, he's the one with the Winter Crown. James Punks finds a double kill in the process as Pinkman now with the yo-yos actually was able to take down Shizo, but still James Punks, money on the prize, takes the Lord. Final slash, well done by Dur, and his outplay against Jove and James Punk, and he just cannot hold on. Shut down by the Suyo. Lazy Esports finds the wipeout.
Beautifully played by Lazy Esports. There was good attempts coming in here from Blacklist International to try and turn that fight around. But with that wipeout and minions already in the base of Blacklist, Lazy Esports